Okay, part 3. Time for Vertigo again. Anyway, there on that ledge above the doorway are some figures. Not good lighting down there, but this part will be short. That is the TriStar Godzilla figure, the big one. And, the figure's pretty cool. One of the selling points, it could swallow other action figures. The movie itself, it would have been a good monster movie if they hadn't called it Godzilla. It wasn't Godzilla. But moving on. There is a Yeti figure. It's marked Animal Planet, but I'm pretty sure that was made by Chatmay. Could be wrong about that. Got the Wolfman Poser from Sideshow in the box. And there's a reprint of the Kong poster behind him there. And we go in here to the room that used to be a kitchen that is no longer used as a kitchen. And we will look at this little case here first. CDs, monster CDs on top. Got some premiums, fan-made and from Severn Films. And there's some books. Down there are DVD copies of stuff that was on VHS tape. Mostly old monster movies, TV showings, things like that. Elvira photo. It's a signed Ray Harryhausen photo. And we will go over here. There is the French poster for Tombs of the Blind Dead. One of my favorites. And there is a painting by John Fabonio of Paul Naschy as Alaric de Marnac and Helga Linné as Mobile de Lancre from Horror Rises from the Tomb. There's a Richard Harrison Green print of Werewolf of London. And there's another Richard Harrison Green print of the Wolfman. And there is It, The Terror from Beyond Space, original sketch by Richard Harrison Green. Yeah, I saw this guy at a couple of conventions in Knoxville, and that's when I bought some of that art from him. That is Cynthia, and I don't know who the artist is. I mean, I thought it was cool. The price was right. I bought it from an eBay seller. Anyway, she's the Hot Witch in The Witching Hour by DC. And down below we have some Mexican small posters, kind of like lobby cards. That is of Haunted House of Horror, Jill Hayworth. Movie's not that great, but I'll watch anything with Jill Hayworth in it. And that is from The Death Master with Robert Quarry. And that is from The Devil's Men, also known as Land of the Minotaur, from 1977 with Donald Pleasence and Peter Cushing. I drew that, called that Werewolf on Blood Island. That is a what if that never happened, but it would have been cool if it did. You know, like a Spanish-Filipino co-production back around 1971 where the Paul Naschy werewolf stowed away a freighter and killed everyone when the moon rose, as of course El Hombre Lobo, swam to the nearest island, which just happened to be Blood Island, where the chlorophyll monster was running rampant, aka the Beast of Blood. And those two ripped each other to shreds for an hour and a half, you know, in different encounters across the island while they massacred the locals. Big fun. Never happened, should have. And over here, we've got the Creature Grave Walker ripping out of my no longer used refrigerator. That's the real one. I've got the cheap knockoff in there that they've been selling for a couple of years on eBay. I'll show it later. But that's the real one there. That's the one that counts. And we've got some refrigerator magnets. One of them is Fiend Without a Face, and there's a Zante Misfits there. And that one is Spooky #1. That's a Warren fanzine, and that first issue is like a super low print. It's really hard to find. I've got that run. I probably should do a video on that at some point. And let's go over here. More hanging skeleton ghouls. There's an old plastic trick-or-treat bag. I know it's hard to see with the glare, but there we go. And reprint of a Creature poster. I flip that around and use it as a background when I do videos on that table, and also pictures. And here we have a German movie poster for Destroy All Monsters. That's probably my favorite Godzilla movie. And I thought it was really fun to have the German poster because they mentioned Frankenstein. In a lot of these monster movies for the German posters, they put Frankenstein in the title when it has nothing to do with Frankenstein. It's kind of funny. Here we have, in those boxes are like upgraded DVDs and stuff. And there is a piece from Spooky Town by Lee Max. And I'm gonna let you see this thing in operation here. It's a little tricky because the door sticks and it has to be helped along. And we'll see how this goes. It's pretty cool. That little door opens and a vampire comes out. It's going to be hard to do what I need to do, probably with trying to shoot it on this laptop. There you see the door starting to open and it gets stuck. And I will attempt to help it because it works fine once you get past the stuck part. And a little ghost pops up at the top. The vampire comes out, takes a bow, light comes on. He stays out there for a minute and then retreats back into the castle. And as the door tries to shut, it can't because it gets stuck. And we'll push down on the ghost and help it along here because it's old. And okay, anyway, there you go. You got to see it. Whoop. That gets really loud if you turn it the wrong way. Now, get back to the regular show here. Some Mexican repop Nutty Mads. And here are some Hammer items. There is Trick or Treat Studios mask of the Golden Vampire and Distinctive Dummies figure of the Golden Vampire. And that has the sword in there and the little mask he wears in the box and that cool medallion there. And the Hammer Mummy, Christopher Lee as the Hammer Mummy, Trick or Treat Studios mask. There's an unopened pack of Shock Theater trading cards. I have that set too. I think that was 75. It's in one of those binders in there. One of these days I might do some videos on some of those trading cards. And up here, there is a Robert Brown painting for, of the Hammer Mummy. I think that's the first painting he did. And there's a photo of Victoria Vetri from When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth. There's Uta Stensgaard from Lust for a Vampire. And let's see, show some of this down here in this little shelf. Superhero movies on top shelf, Blu-rays mostly. The MCU was pretty good up to Endgame. After Endgame, I really got to where I didn't care about it. I bought a couple of movies after that, but I just kind of phased out from that. And there are some spillover movies. And down there are some books and some 8mm monster films by Castle Films and Ken Films. And some cheap monster toys from the dollar store and Target and different places. I got those stuck around everywhere. So, move over here. There's the bat from Target. Get over here so I can actually shoot this stuff. There's the little gimme jack-o'-lantern stand and a light-up jack-o'-lantern. Now there we have the Belgian poster for La Noche de Walpurgis, aka Werewolf Shadow, aka Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman, which is the edited, inferior United States version. And anyway, I really like that poster a lot. I was glad to get that. There's a print by Richard Harrison Green of everybody's favorite, The Creature, and there is a print of his for, of course, the Bela Lugosi Dracula with a couple of hot brides there. There is a children's mask, a blow mold devil, an actual blow mold mask with a hinged jaw. I collect blow mold devils, so I was glad to get that too. And there is the bat from Target, the neon hanging decor bat. I had to do some repairs on that. You can kind of tell right there that was broken when I received it, because they put it in a box about 5 feet long and it shipped from California, and by the time it got here and underwent the rigors of mail carriers, it was broken there. But I got just about all the pieces out of the box, and I used some tape and construction paper and markers and stuff, and I managed to repair it. Now they're only $10, and I would have just exchanged it rather than go through all that, but they were out. They were sold out, so I didn't have a choice. If I was going to display it, I had to repair it. So, I mean, it's not too bad unless you know it's broken. It's not like a sore thumb or anything sticking out, but. And we go to more Spooky Town stuff. And this laptop is really hard to maneuver right here. But I will attempt to show you this stuff. And let me turn this on without breaking my laptop here. There's the apothecary shop. There's some trick-or-treaters out front. And a witch flying around at the top. That next thing there, the mausoleum, I had to take the batteries out because that should have been a plug-in, but they made it a battery op. And it burns out batteries so fast, I just quit trying. So I took the batteries out, but it still displays pretty well. And that big styrofoam hill back there, that's got some various little things on it. And of course, there is a Monster Mobile from Spooky Town. And that is a rabbit hole that you really don't want to try to go down, trying to get too heavily into that Spooky Town stuff, because it's expensive. I mean, it looks great, and most of the time it holds up pretty good over the years, but it takes up so much room and money. It's just something that I didn't want to try to tackle, so I stopped there with what I bought. And here we go with Leonard Kong figure, of course, and some Dino figures. And there is a Frazetta print of the Berserker, Conan-esque. More boxes full of toys and stuff. Dinosaur and monster toys. There's a couple of NECA figures there, the Kessler Werewolf and Kong. And there is a Trick or Treat bag and some comic boxes. I keep my older comics up here. The modern stuff goes in the basement because there's only so much room, and I'm not nearly as interested in the modern stuff, so it goes in the basement. More blow molds. There is the singing musical Jolly Jack-o'-lantern Halloween 3 one by Trick or Treat Studios. There are some old ones by Empire. Not sure about that ghost. I probably tells on the bottom. I just forgot to check prior, and I don't want to juggle this laptop too much. Now, this little ghost coming out of the pumpkin here is actually by Target. It's new, and it goes pretty well with these old ones too. So, I like the way it looked. And let me just say one thing about stacking stuff up. When you start running out of room, you start trying to display stuff by stacking it on top of other things, and that is can be problematic. I try to put things on top of other things that can be easily moved, like when I need to get in those comic boxes and such. And but let me tell you, the only alternative to that is to box everything up and hide it away, and I don't want to do that. I want to look at this stuff, man. I want to enjoy it, so I just go through the minor bit of trouble to move things out of the way occasionally when I have to, get under them for whatever reason. Okay, we've got Vampire Brides by White Elephant Toys. There is Elektra, Carmilla, and Lilith on the old style card. She came out a couple of years ago on that card. I think these came out last year on that style card. Love those. That anybody that's good at customizing action figures could make some great Hammer Hotties or Euro Hotties out of these bodies. Ingrid Pitt, Uta Stensgaard, Collinson twins, Victoria Vetri, Raquel Welch. You can make some fantastic Hammer Hotties out of those. Here is Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie, dolls by Brent's Dolls. Should say figures. I don't like to call them dolls, but and let's see, a few things over here. Not of anything of note really. It's some of that McFarlane playset stuff that got damaged in shipping, and I've got the ones in the package in there, but they're okay. Nothing great. They're okay. And over here we have Richard Harrison Green print of Vampira, and a couple of the masks offered by Target in 2017, the Monsterville stuff, and yet another big green skull, the neon hanging decor from Target. And there's some more comic book boxes, and there is the custom playset I did for the rocket ship to Venus. That's a dinosaur slash monster set. I did a video on that. Oh yeah, that reminds me. I think I forgot to mention this in here. This Hellgate Fortress, that is a playset in there, a custom playset I did. And it's a lot of stuff. I had to put it in one of these big totes, and I made that little sign, you know, because I couldn't draw on the tote. So anyway, I did a couple of videos on that, and anybody interested in that can check it out. It's so much stuff I had to set it up in the floor. And we've got the envelope that my Jack Davis Frankenstein jointed hanger came in. And there is a Frankenstein print. And that poster right there is the original one I got out of Creepy number 55. I think it was a 1973 yearbook also. And also got the Creepy Crawley Castle game out of that. I bought another copy, a nice copy, complete later to complete my Creepy run. But anyway, that's the two-sided poster that I got out of that, and you can still see where I had, you know, had it, it was tacked to the wall, and I put tape over the corners so that the tacks would be more secure in the thing. And let me shut this door here, and we can look at some of these figures here. This is a new Mego stuff. You know, these are all right. The reason, the best part of these, in my opinion, are the Hammer figures. I was really glad when they did the Hammer stuff. And, you know, there's some of these that are pretty good, like that Nosferatu, the Jeepers Creepers, that Twilight Zone. That was when Richard Kiel played the Canamet in To Serve Man. And there are some of the Hammer figures there, Van Helsing and Dracula and some of the others. Those are the only Hammer figures they did. Those 7. It's too bad because I'm a big Hammer fan, like a lot of people, I'm sure. And we will go over here and look at this stuff real quick. Yeah, there's my Elvira poster behind that Spooky Town stuff. There's some more old Trick or Treat bags. That little mask there of the skeleton, or the skull, is by Zest Soap. It's a giveaway. There's an original sketch by Richard Harrison Green of a succubus. And yeah, he did some pretty good monster stuff. He worked for Disney for a while. And there are a couple of Distinctive Dummies figures. That is Paul Naschy Werewolf, El Hombre Lobo, Valdemar Daninsky from The Werewolf versus the Vampire Woman. That's the 12-inch. And there's Peter Cushing as Dr. Terror from Dr. Terror's House of Horrors. It's got the card in it, the playing, or the tarot cards in it and all. And some other tubes of playset type figures. And over here we have 3 of the Sideshow 12-inch figures. That's the creature there. That's the first one that they did of the 12-inch with it's got like a G.I. Joe type body inside a rubber suit. And of course, you know, you've got London After Midnight Vampire Cheney and Nosferatu. And there we have my custom Hamilton's Invaders playset. Did a video on that. And there is the custom Voyage to the Bottom of the Sea playset. Did another video on that. You guys can find all these videos on my channel page. I've got a lot of playlists too, so if you're interested in that, you can check them out. Forbidden Planet poster, Hand of Death lobby card, photo from the Twilight People with Pam Grier as the Panther Woman. There are some Distinctive Dummies figures on the wall. I'll go up from down here. More Monster Mags. Those two smaller boxes there are the digest size things. There's one of those NECA Ben Cooper figures. That's the Witch. There is Mini Monster Devil Mask. I think that's by Retro Go-Go. There are some of the playset buckets, and it's going to be a little hard. Let me see. Let me do it like this. Now, those four are the Boris Karloff figures by Distinctive Dummies. That's a whole set of those. The others over there, I have to get back here so you can see them all good. Those are the 1950s monsters. And then you've got another diamond figure of the creature there, Blood of Dracula figure from Executive Replicas. Those are a couple of photos from Lady Frankenstein. Laptops don't weigh much until you try to handle them for an hour or so and be ultra careful with them and not wave them around too much. Start to get a little unwieldy. There is a Ben Cooper mask of the Witch. There are some more Distinctive Dummies 12-inch figures. The Roy Ashton collection. I did videos on all these Distinctive Dummies figures. You can check those out if you care. And down at the bottom there are some Funko figures of Mad Monster Party. Both sets of those. You know, I like those. I like some of the stuff Funko did. You know, I try not to be negative on these videos, but I can't stand those pops. I do not own a single pop. I just can't stand them. There's something about the look of those things. They just look kind of tragic to me. I can't stand them. Anyway, moving on. I can stand this. I love this. This is a Frazetta print of the Sea Witch. That was used for the cover of Eerie #7. And come over here and take a better look at some of this stuff. There's a 12-inch Dracula figure, Christopher Lee. There is a figure of Christopher Lee as Duc de Richelieu from The Devil Rides Out by Distinctive Dummies. That Dracula figure is by Product Enterprise, I believe. And, you know, as silly as it is, I really love those little cheap skulls there. They're blow mold and they have jointed jaws. And they were only $1 a piece. I should have bought a buggy full of those things, man. They came from Dollar Tree a few years ago, and then they disappeared, like a lot of that stuff does. That little water globe there came from Dollar Tree, you know. You can get some pretty cool monster toys from the dollar store sometimes. And there are the Screamers from Target, the Monsterville stuff. If you want to see those in action, check out the video I did on the Target Gets. because I bought some new batteries for those recently, and you know, I go through all the things they say and everything for that video. Okay, I had to set up a different light to try to get enough light back here. I can see back here just fine to tell what I'm looking at in the boxes. It's just, it doesn't photograph that well. All right, let me get a wide shot of this so you can tell what we're looking at, give you some context here. That's my Monster magazine section. And those boxes are all full of Monster magazines with some original Warren posters on the wall there. And we will start here in this closet. Vampirella 6-foot poster by Gonzalez, the classic image of Vampy. That is actually the Harris reprint from the 90s, but it's a good reprint. I have the original Warren poster. It's rolled up in a tube over here. I already had this one up when I bought the original, so it displays the same, so I just left it up. Love that poster. And here we have the closet where most of my play sets are. Let me try to get in here. It's going to be a little rough. Okay, you can kind of get the idea. There's my 2 mountain sets by Marks and a bunch of the other play sets stacked up. And I've got a bunch of action figures in the top shelf there. Sideshow 12-inch, have most of those. And there's some more back behind. And there are the Thingmaker sets. Creepy Crawlers, Fright Factory, Creeple People Maker Pack. I did videos on all of those. And there is another Creepy Crawler set that I used to actually make some Creepy Crawlers a few years ago. And there are some Creeple People in that box there. And here we have the Strange Change machine. The Green Mountain's inside the box, and there are the 2 cards, blister cards for the supplements. And there's the Strange Change machine itself. It's got the original paper insert. And there are some Mexican bootleg blow mold candy pail / figures. Weird looking little things, but I like them. There's a vampire and a demon. And by the way, the graphics on the box for that Strange Change the Lost World toy are some of the best graphics I've ever seen on any toy or anything, really. I just love those things, man. You don't see stuff like that anymore. And there are all 24 of the figures expanded from the Strange Change the Lost World. There are Halloween Boglins. There's another Mexican bootleg blow mold candy pail. That little pumpkin there with the sorting hat, demonic sorting hat. And a Basil Gogos, the cover of Famous Monsters 109 with Basil Gogos, Dr. Death, Vincent Price from Madhouse. A couple of the newer monster masks from Super 7. There's that little knockoff of that big creature Gravewalker in there on the refrigerator that I showed earlier. Yeah, I just, I wanted to get one of these. I think I gave like 25 bucks for it. Just because of the silliness of the scam, or the half-ass scam but behind this. I mean, the sellers on eBay put like one picture of the real one and then a bunch of pictures of this one, they think that's going to confuse people because they have to put the regular measurements of this thing. Somebody might have gotten confused by it, I don't know. But anybody that knows anything about the original Gravewalker is going to see right through that. I just wanted a little piece of that craziness, though. And you know, the little knockoff is a pretty cool toy in its own right if you don't give much for it, so I didn't. And here are some Blow-Mo pumpkins from Spirit Halloween. That's the witch pumpkin. There is one of the pumpkin skulls. There's the bigger pumpkin skull. There are the library cases that Warren Publishing put out, sold in the Captain Company ads in the back of the magazines. Those are hard to find. Those are legitimately hard to find. I won't say they're rare, but they're pretty hard to find. Look them up on eBay. Look for library case, Warren Publishing or Captain Company. They also made a Spirit one, which I'll probably never see that. I mean, I've got all the Spirit run, and I'd like to have it, but I'll probably never see it. And I won't really miss it. It's just one of those things. You can't have everything. And here are some little horror monster candy and toy boxes, kind of like Phoenix candy boxes or Horror Monsters grab bags. Those all have Best Plastics figures in them, as well as some newer stuff. And we've got more Warren Publishing posters. And there is the one for the first Famous Monsters convention in '74 in New York. These others are by Ken Kelly. Covers of Creepy and Eerie. And, oh yeah, I don't want to forget this down here. Super 7 Creature Bucket. Kind of forgettable. Makes him look like a frog. There's some figures from Sideshow, the black and white stuff. I really didn't go for those black and white variants. I got those cheap from Dennis Druck Tennis a long time ago. And there's the plastic bag. You don't see those very often either. That was, I don't know if, I guess that was included free with your admission. I mean, I never got to go to that convention, but, you know, I was a kid back then, and the only place we ever went was Florida for vacation. So it might as well have been on the moon in New York. And a couple of Collegeville devil costumes. And here's the Mummy. This is from the Monsterville stuff.
The mummy. Is it dead or alive? Human or inhuman? You'll know. You'll see. You'll feel the awful, creeping, crawling terror.
And if you look at this thing dead on, it'll blind you, man.
Never saw a mummy like that. Neither, I imagine, has anyone else. Looks as though he died in some sensationally unpleasant manner. The contorted muscles show that he struggled in the bandages. Buried alive.
Okay, those tubes there, I have some more original Warren posters in those, including that Vampirella poster. And we will continue down here. There is Forbidden Territory. That is a game of Hammer characters, board game. And it's got some really neat metal miniatures. I probably should do a video on that at some point. And here's some Trend Masters Godzilla figures in this 40th anniversary box set here. I've got a bunch of that Trendmaster stuff in there and boxed up, but you just can't put it all out, you know. Not enough room. And on these Monster Magazine boxes, we have, now this is a Candy Pail right here. This is a Creature Candy Pail. This is by Trick or Treat Studios, and I love this thing. I mean, to me, it just blows away that Super 7 frog-looking thing. This actually looks like the creature. It's a good sculpt. Excellent candy pail. There's the Trick or Treat Studios creature mask. And more Monsterville stuff. We will try it out.
Don't you forget, I gave you life. I gave you life.
Yeah, a lot of people have this. I love this thing, man.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. There's something to be afraid of. Just some stitches.
Yeah, that was sold with the Monsterville stuff back in 2017 at Target. Here is the Trick or Treat Studios Frankenstein pail, and it's a good one too. Blow mold candy pail. Great sculpt, great colors. The colors on that kind of look like the A-High figure. I don't have the original A-High figures, but that's what that reminds me of. I've seen a lot of pictures. I think they're cool. I think the original Lincoln figures are cool. A lot of the original Mego stuff's pretty cool. The A-High and Lincoln are probably the best. But, you know, I'm at the age where I didn't have those as a kid. I was a teenager when those came out, and I had my mind on other things. And, you know, with the prices being the way they are on those and no sentimental connection, I just never went after them. But I think they're really cool. Here is the Empire Haunted House light-up blow mold from 1969. I don't plug these older blow molds up because the wiring is old, and it'd probably be safe. I mean, it'd probably work out okay, but I just like to display them. You know, the cord is in the back, you know, it's just wound up, kind of to stay out of the way. Ratfink helmet, like that. Grew up with Ratfink everywhere in the 60s. And there is another classic blow mold, that ghost with the pumpkin and skull. And yet another one, the little scarecrow looking pumpkin dude. And that green haunted house is another expensive one. This Empire one right here is probably the most expensive of the smaller haunted houses. And that green one is pretty expensive too. You don't see them too often. It's made by Bayshore. And we've got the Robbie the Robot from Walmart from a few years ago. What, 3-4 years ago? 4, I guess. This is one of the best values in Monster Toys. This thing was only 20 bucks. And I like the packaging a lot, so I display it in the packaging, but you can take it out and it even walks. So anyway, let me see if I can work my way back here to push this button. Everything's tough when you're trying to...
Welcome to Altair 4, gentlemen. I am to transport you to the residence.
Yeah, there we go. That's a great toy. Great toy. And you know, I loved what they did at Walmart. They had enough of them made that everybody got one that wanted one without having to go through flippers and pay a fortune. I wish it was like that all the time on everything, but it's not. Okay, Beast of Blood mask. Big fan of the Blood Island movies. That's by Trick or Treat Studios. And Fulci Zombie mask. That's by Trick or Treat Studios. I really like both of those masks. And of course, the San Julian classic posters of Uncle Creepy and Cousin Eerie. And I think we're done. I think we are done. But anyway, that just gives you kind of an overview of the stuff back in this area and finishes the series. This is the end of part 3. Of course, I've got dozens and dozens of other videos that cover a lot of this stuff in detail, and I'll be making more as time goes on. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm out.